This 130-year-old house has had quite the journey, through the years and down the land to the water. Kimberly Harrison and her husband Michael purchased this 1890s home in 2020.
This is our house. We bought it last year in the summer of 2020. When I first looked at it, I probably looked at it for 15 minutes, and we put an offer in a few days later. And I think I was in love with it right from the very beginning. I think what I loved most about it was the tin ceilings. And secondly, the old staircase. I really loved the staircase. The small rooms, and the fact that it was 130 years old and that there were 7 children that grew up in this house. So to me, it feels like a very happy home, and I hope that we can continue that and bringing it new life and in a new location.
It was not particularly abandoned, but neglected. It was also just steps from the road.
Leading up to the move, I was excited, and it was supposed to happen at the beginning of June, and for me, it couldn't happen fast enough. I wanted it to be done, from the time that we made the decision to move the house. I wanted it to be done yesterday. But then there was a lot of work that went into making the house ready to move.
Harrison said they wanted to move it down the property to be closer to the banks of the LaHave River. In June, the house was cut in two, and a crane was used to carry the pieces in 3 stages down to its new foundation with a water view.
So for this one, what we did was we put our metal beams through the front and back of the house so they could catch all the sill plates the sills that run across perpendicular. And then we had an engineer company from Halifax come down and calculated how much that the actual house weighed, and then we split it in half.
The crack in the walls and floors are still visible from when the house was cut. Tyler Peterson was in charge of the big move.
This one here was in real good shape. If this house wasn't as good a shape, I wouldn't have suggested doing the lift. We've looked at some before, and There's been jobs that I've walked away from because it had way too much rot, and I just knew that it was a liability that as soon as you start lifting, it was probably going to cave in on itself. So we'll stay away, and it's really dangerous for the guys.
This house has a lot of history. Harrison found an incredible mix of artifacts, including a petticoat ruff, squid lures, socks, and a small anchor.
We found this little shoe, and I was really excited. But down beneath the shoe was a whole treasure trove of a time capsule of this family's life. These were a set of little girl stockings with the button at the top, I guess to hold in place where their petticoat or their garter was. Ropes that would have been a part of the boy's life. This has some sort of a little fish hook attached to it. The children's toys, a domino, a block. There's a little ball, children's ruler. So many things.
Michael Mandale is rebuilding the home and really appreciates a client who is passionate about preserving old structures. It takes a lot of work, money, and passion to rescue an old home instead of tearing it down and starting over.
To be completely honest, it's not like this house was a diamond in the rough. Like, they're pretty common here. What's really unique is that the fact that Kimberly is willing to spend the time and money to try to save it. There's a lot of homes in Nova Scotia, and specifically on the South Shore, that are like this, but a lot of them get butchered or demolished, over time. First of all, you need to have a client that's willing to spend the extra time and money to bring back an old home, because a lot of the times it can be a lot cheaper and easier to just demolish it and build something new.
Harrison jokes that she doesn't know if they are brave or stupid, but it's easy to see how attached she is to this house. In East LaHave, I'm Jen Taplin for the SaltWire Network.